Next on HBO.
A strange man keeps up with the bank robbers until he covers up from range down this whole time. Burt Reynolds, WW, and the Dixie Dancekings.
Next on HBO.
When Jenny and Steve came home from vacation,
Sam, we're home.
they weren't ready for Dad's surprise.
I got married.
With who?
Me mom.
How could you have brought that woman into our house?
We do have great sex.
I realize I am an acquired taste.
Now they couldn't be happier.
Aren't you going to give your new grandma a kiss?
No way.
She's a one-of-a-kind woman living in two bodies who's so good in the kitchen.
Can I have my breakfast now?
Finally, the motion picture that answers the question,
This is a major lawsuit.
which witch is which?
I got everything under control.
Wicked Stepmother.
Long ago, in the land of the dinosaurs, 5 friends took an incredible journey
You want to go with me? Yeah.
in search of the Great Valley.
Oh, you can't quit now.
From the creators of An American Tale, a story of friendship, courage,
Quick, this way.
and laughter. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg present a Don Bluth film, The Land Before Time.
Your favorite force is on a roll.
Making us look like a bunch of fools.
In this city, crime will take a back seat. Once they're behind the wheel.
That was very exciting, wasn't it?
Police Academy 6, they're back and wilder than ever.
The following movie is rated PG.
Next, on HBO. The strange man keeps up with the young woman and kept the violence without the vengeance. Paul Newman and Sally Field star in Absence of Malice. Next, on HBO.
Your favorite force is on a roll.
Making us look like a bunch of fools!
In this city, crime will take a back seat. Once they're behind the wheel.
That was very exciting, wasn't it?
Police Academy 6, they're back and wilder than ever.
Long ago, in the land of the dinosaurs, 5 friends took an incredible journey
You want to go with me? Yeah!
in search of the Great Valley.
Oh, you can't quit now.
From the creators of An American Tale, a story of friendship, courage,
Quick, this way!
and laughter. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg present a Don Bluth film, The Land Before Time.
When Jenny and Steve came home from vacation,
Sam, we're home!
they weren't ready for Dad's surprise.
I got married.
With who?
Hold me, Mom.
How could you have brought that woman into our house?
We do have great sex.
I realize I am an acquired taste.
Now they couldn't be happier.
Aren't you going to give your new grandma a kiss?
No way.
She's a one-of-a-kind woman living in 2 bodies who's so good in the kitchen.
Can I have my breakfast now?
Finally, the motion picture that answers the question,
This is a major lawsuit.
which witch is which?
I got everything under control.
Wicked Stepmother.
Tonight is on HBO. At 7, a woman comes to the family home. Bette Davis, the premiere of Wicked Stepmother. At 9, 2 women came to the police town, Rebecca De Mornay and Mary Gross. Feds. And at 10:45, Bette Midler goes on to the live Divine Madness. Wicked Stepmother, Feds, and Divine Madness. HBO is on tonight.
The following movie is rated PG.
Next on HBO.
Two females are getting ready to be federal agents and stopping by with some bad criminals. Rebecca De Mornay and Mary Gross are the Feds.
Next on HBO.
Long ago, in the land of the dinosaurs, 5 friends took an incredible journey
You want to go with me? Yeah.
in search of the Great Valley.
Oh, you can't quit now.
From the creators of An American Tale, a story of friendship, courage,
Quick, this way.
and laughter. George Lucas and Steven Spielberg present a Don Bluth film, The Land Before Time.
Your favorite force is on a roll.
Making us look like a bunch of fools.
In this city, crime will take a back seat. Once they're behind the wheel.
That was very exciting, wasn't it?
Police Academy 6, they're back and wilder than ever.
When Jenny and Steve came home from vacation,
Sam, we're home.
they weren't ready for Dad's surprise.
I got married.
With who?
Hold me, Mom.
How could you have brought that woman into our house?
We do have great sex.
I realize I am an acquired taste.
Now they couldn't be happier.
Aren't you going to give your new grandma a kiss?
No way.
She's a one-of-a-kind woman living in 2 bodies who's so good in the kitchen.
Can I have my breakfast now?
Finally, the motion picture that answers the question,
This is a major lawsuit.
which is which?
I got everything under control.
Wicked Stepmother.
Next on HBO.
And world-famous Italian tenor opera singer holds up with long, wild concert in this whole wide side in the outer losing. Yes, Giorgio.
Next on HBO.
Is this possible?
He came to the door to mow lawns.
After 9 years,
The fingerprints match.
her son is home.
He doesn't know who we are. He doesn't remember us.
But a house isn't a home
I don't see why I have to live here.
unless the people inside
I've been doing fine without you.
I don't think you have been, Vincent.
are a family.
All I want is for us to be happy.
You'll let me do what I have to do.
Michelle Pfeiffer, The Deep End of the Ocean.
I'm the only person you can't have and it kills you.
She had men wrapped around her fingers, but someone new
I'm infatuated with her.
is about to unravel all her plans.
You don't love me anymore.
I'm dangerous. Take a sexy girl,
How dangerous.
His hand killed us yesterday. Yeah, it sliced me up real good.
a desperate guy,
It's my hand. It makes him do things I don't want him to do.
and a pushy hand.
Sorry about your bush.
And you've got a comedy
You scream like a girl.
that dares to give scary movies
And now it's after my girlfriend. You got a girlfriend?
the finger. Idle hands.
Look at me! I'm laughing!
Premieres Friday, November 5th.
la grazia plena.
Next on HBO.
We go behind the scenes about the sexual content drama and the hits of the new business romance. The making of Cruel Intentions.
Next on HBO.
While every other woman dreamed of being a princess,
You hunt royalty like some sport. It's disgusting.
she had a spirit of her own.
I demand you release him at once.
Please, a name. A servant. I will strike at you in any way I can. It is my life.
And he fought
Would you meet me tomorrow?
I shall try.
What have we here?
for her love. Drew Barrymore, Ever After.
I'm the only person you can't have, and it kills you.
She had men wrapped around her fingers, but someone new
I'm infatuated with her.
is about to unravel all her plans.
You don't love me anymore.
Take 5. Mark. Saddle in. Set tail. Action.
When I put the script together, I saw the style as being a modern-day period piece. Even though I wanted to do something original with this material, I wanted to give it its own life, and I wanted to make it different from all the other teen movies out there. So I thought like a modern-day period piece would be great. So even though the characters were talking a lot of times very colloquial with today's vocabulary, with teens, I wanted the whole look to be very period. Like where they lived, what they drove, down to the smallest detail, like the phones would be a rotary dial phone, and the clothes they wear would not be normal, because rather than saying, oh, I'm playing the reality of the situation, I wanted to play it slightly exaggerated and have kids aspire to it. And just like the dialogue, sometimes it's very colloquial, sometimes I try and talk above kids. So that was basically the style of it.
I thought it was daring in a way, and I felt immediately the possibilities of give it a certain look. Although there was a lot of dialogue and a lot of in-house blocking of the characters. So when you read the script, in the first moment you wouldn't say this is a very visual film, but because it was based on Dangerous Liaison, it gave me immediately a concept of how you could see it in a visual style.
When I first read the script, I knew it was based on Dangerous Liaison, and I went to the interview and I thought, oh great, I want to do period pictures, but it's really hard to get period pictures if you haven't done one. And I pitched to Roger and Neil and whoever else was in the meeting. I think that when we walk into the Valmont family home, it should be like walking back in time. We're walking into a Parisian ballroom, 18th century. And they all went, really? And I go, yes. Everything else can be contemporary, but that room I want to feel like a period film. And then they go, well, that's interesting.
I read it. I had to do it immediately. And actually, I was lucky because Gary was in my first interview. And my tear sheet, my first presentation of what I thought the movie should look like was exactly what Gary had thought. So Gary got so excited in my first interview.
Yeah.
He's like,
yes.
He basically hired me, even though all the producers and the directors were like, calm down. It was we were right on the same level, and that was when I knew. It's the closest I've ever worked with a production designer or a cinematographer for any look of a film.
It's a kind of very classy film, beautiful, with beautiful environment, beautiful people, young, beautiful costumes, everything beautiful except the story itself. It's about mean things, but all in a beautiful environment. So the more we could make the environment, the light, the camera movement classy and classical, the more contrast it would have with the meanness of the manipulation, the sexual manipulation of the people. And that would give a great visual style. And I think with the help of Gary Steele and Denise Wingate, we got the visual style pretty much under control.
Your home is so beautiful, Mrs. Rosemond.
Oh, thank you, Annette. It's been in my family for over 100 years.
Once Gary and I were set on the design, we started interviewing costume designers. And Denise embodied so much, and that she was very hip to what teens were doing, but she also, again, got what we were trying to do. And I was like, I don't want kids dressing like they normally do. I want them in suits. I want them in just incredible clothes, so that when people saw this movie, they were like, wow, I have, you know. How many kids start a movie wearing a suit, you know? That's what makes this movie different, I think, from a lot of things out there. And Denise really, some of the costumes she brought to the process were incredible.
A lot of the costumes carried from room to room, from scene to scene. So you kind of had to play them against the other characters they were with and against each other and against the different rooms. There's a lot, I think people take for granted what actually goes into everything you have to think about when somebody's wearing a costume, like what precedes it, who are they with, and you know, and usually you don't have the chance to do an arc, like a character arc, and we were lucky enough to be able to do that with Sebastian, I think. I mean, we kept him dark the whole way, and when he was actually falling in love and coming to his own, he was wearing this bright color, and then it went down from there. I mean, it's subtle things that maybe people will never notice, but it's things that it's things that I feel like I need to do just for my own
design. Have fun with it.
Nobody else will notice it ever.
Yes, they will. Oh, it doesn't matter.
You notice.
It works, you know.
Yeah, we try to do that.
There was a constant discussion. Denise would call me in, what's done seldom, would call me in the fittings or directly after the fittings and talk me through what colors they had chosen. And the fittings of actors are always a combination of discussion with the actors, how he feels comfortable with what he feels comfortable. The producer, studio representative who have a say in this, and then he always would call me in beforehand to make already a little bit of choice, what I would think, and afterwards to show me what the choice had become, so that I could integrate that in my, or could include that in my look.
We showed Teo everything, every prop, you know, that way we could all
and we were actually lucky because
together.
It's very rare that production designers and costume designers' offices are right next to each other on a stage. So every time something came up, we showed each other everything, and it really helped with everything we did.
Because we tried to stylize the whole as much as we could. Like, there are some things that we would have stylized even more had there been more money, but
more money, more time.
More money, more time. Yeah. But for a little movie, I mean, it's only 10 million, and we really didn't have a lot of money in our departments. Yeah. We got to do quite a bit because, as we say, Roger, as we said before, Roger let us do basically whatever we wanted. He would say, make it look pretty. Yeah. Just do it, whatever.
He gave us free reign, and we were very lucky.
I had one trick with them, all of them, which was when the producers would sometimes disagree, and it was really my decision, and they graciously let me have that decision, I would absolutely just say to each of them several times during the movie, are you going to die if I don't let you have this? Prove to me that you really need this, because I have to fight your fight. And I would go on their passion when it came to the look and the style. And a lot of times Gary and Denise would say, I have to have this or I'm leaving the show. It's that important to me. Because it's very important to pick and choose your battles as a filmmaker. And once they said that, I stand by Gary Steele. And he was right.
I kept fighting to get more period-looking interiors. We had a couple contemporary things like the therapy office, but you know, we looked at billions of homes, and I kept wanting the ones that looked, tried to make it as period as possible on a contemporary film. And yes, I would have liked to build more, but that's...
And I have the same the same problem is I would have liked to have built more clothing, and I did certain pieces. The pieces that were very period looking, I built, and we tied them in with Prada and Gucci and Calvin Klein and Donna Karan to make it more contemporary. But like the long coat that Sebastian wears in the end is from an 18th century French frock coat that is from the Napoleonic period, and I actually took it from a design of that. And you try to build like certain pieces, you have to pick your battles, and you just take certain pieces and tie that in.
My, what an adorable shirt you're wearing.
Thanks. My father took me on a trip to Australia.
How are things down under? Blossoming, I hope.
Sebastian!
Knowing very little about filmmaking, I would talk in very layman's terms, much like anybody would talk to somebody who was given $10 million to direct a movie, and I would say, I want this to look cool, really at the basic level. I said, every room I see, I want kids to go, I have to have this. I must have this. It's like when I see a James Bond film, I have to have everything. But rather than techno gadgets, I said, your goal is to, I want it very kind of period, but I want everyone to say, I want Sebastian's room, I want Catherine's room, I want this bed, and I want this thing under the bed, and I want these colors and everything like that.
We tried to have everybody had their own tone. We tried to do that with rooms and with colors, and if you'll notice, Annette had her own tone, which was all pastels. For the most part, except for when she actually leaves Sebastian and she's wearing red. That's the only time she's in her primary color. We try to do that with every single character. Sometimes it's difficult because of rooms. I mean, you try to give everybody a tone, but you also at the same time try to stay true to their environment. And
sometimes it might work in one room and not another.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you have to change things, which I have actually. And it's easier to change a sweater than it is to change a wall.
We had to make things work, and we fought very hard. Gary and I fought very hard for very expensive locations and gave in on other things because we knew that we were going to get the best out of it. We fought very hard for a very big set to be built, very high, so that we could shoot up and get the feeling of a very rich environment.
We knew we were going to build something, and that was going to be the living room and the 2 bedrooms and the hallway, because so much time was going to be spent in those rooms. And I said, make it look opulent, make it look decadent and rich, and no kid stuff in the rooms. And we talked briefly, and he said, I want these colors to just pop out.
The blue room was very cold. That's what her character was. We called her the Ice Princess and tried to make it very cold and sterile. And in his room, we wanted it to be much more warm. He's intellectual, he reads a lot. And, the walls, of course, are much darker and rich. And as we said before, everything, we tried to make it very decadent. I mean, every piece of furniture, most of the furniture and the artwork both, we tried to make everything a classic in that home as much as possible. Classic pieces of furniture, classic art, be it present day or, old stuff. Old shit.
Old crabby shit.
But everything was dark, because we thought of it as a tragedy.
Yeah, I tried to do the same thing.
Yeah, tried to make it as dark as you could, even though some of the locations were very bright, like the atrium and some of which I didn't really like that location. But there's, but sometimes you just kind of got to give in.
Pick your battles.
You got to shoot. Yeah, exactly. You pick your battles. You fight for the Valmont home, and certain things that are really, really important, and certain things they say, all right, that's where you're shooting. You make it,
You make it work. And I have to say that Gary made stuff work in the most oddest of locations.
Yeah, we were in some weird places, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have like a room this big. Okay, make it look.
There it is.
Yeah, exactly, do it.
I must be the luckiest filmmaker alive because I let these guys have free rein, and they just did a great job.
Who is our friend who gives you such pleasure? Where could he be?
Hi. Some fucked up shit in this house.
Call me.
I remember the days I said, Ryan, this is your bedroom, and Sarah, this is your bedroom, and they just loved it. They got it. I always talked I talked in themes with the actors. Ryan was knowledge is power. The wall of books. That was important when I started coming up with the style of this film. that knowledge is books, and like that's where your power comes from. And that's what I want kids to think, that like the more they read, the more dangerous they can become. With Catherine, it was about just being ice cold, the color blue in that room, and the silver, you know. And this is like, you're like this queen bee, and this is your lair, you know, which is that alcove of a bed. And they got it, and then, you know, we let them hang out in that room, and they were awesome. They took over from there.
That very first day when they put us in hair and makeup and wardrobe, and you walked out onto that set, you couldn't help but feel like Sebastian and Catherine. You wanted to lounge, and you felt the opulence and the richness that these Playboy children had. And the two bedrooms really just embodied the characters. Catherine's room with the crystals hanging and the hand strung, and the mirrors, the crystal mirrors all over the room, and the deep blues, and Sebastian's hunting room, and it was really incredible.
I think it was, unendingly helpful for us to come into these sets, and they were so opulent and beautiful and intricate and well designed, and on not necessarily a huge budget. These people did a wonderful job of like getting furniture from great places, and it really gave you a sense of the importance these people feel in their lives just because they surround themselves with expensive things, and in that way they feel like they have the right to do whatever they want to with whomever they want to, and if they want to destroy someone, that's fine with them. And it really brought you into that world.
And we rehearsed in Roger's house, and I was very thankful to get to a set that was, it was just such a luscious movie in every way, and I really thought that they did amazing work, with all the details.
What impressed me the most was the actual, our bedrooms and the Valmont living room. It completely enhances the movie and your performance when you walk into this room that already has character and history and strength. And to me, Theo van der Sande shot the movie like Remains of the Day, a Merchant Ivory film. It's got that look that I think, elevates the film. When something looks so well crafted, the way I feel like this movie does, it does take you away to a different place,
Theo is my film teacher. Neil Moritz, the producer of the film, said, Theo read the script and wanted to do it, and he said, don't even look. You're lucky to have him. And you go through this process when you're a first-time director. No, I want to look at a bunch of people. And I was like, I knew nothing what I was talking about. I met Theo. He was so intelligent. I was terrified. I was so insecure when I met him. He's so brilliant. I mean, you look at this movie, and this is, again, a $10 million movie, and it looks great because of Gary Steele, Denise Wingate, and Theo van der Sande. And Theo taught me everything I know now about filmmaking, shot listing, how to correctly block a scene, the look of the film. I learned everything from Theo. He is a mentor to me.
I showed him several films to show him what you could do with a camera. And after halfway the first meeting, he said, Theo, you saved me $40,000. I said, why is that? I said, I don't have to go to the AFI. He said, I don't have to go. In this week already, I have I get so much to learn. He says, yeah, you cost me $40,000. I said to him, plus what I give in to do the film, because it was a low-budget film and it was independent in the beginning. Of course, it became a studio film, but it was independent in the beginning, and I like it, so that's what my choice is. My choice is when I like it, I do it.
Movies that influenced me were like The Graduate, and certain ways that Mike Nichols framed his shots were really important to me, and I didn't want to just do medium shot, close, and just have it look like a TV show or a bad movie. And Theo responded to that, and Theo and I had a staple of films in which we looked at, one being Theo said, look at Bertolucci's The Conformist, which, I was like, oh, okay. And it was amazing. You learned so much about filmmaking from that one film. And Visconti films The Damned and Death in Venice, and Theo is an encyclopedia of these foreign films, and they were very influential in looking at the style and the colors and what he was trying to do, because I didn't have the vocabulary to talk properly as a director to a director of photography. So we talk in terms of movies, and I say, I like this, I like that, I like this from that movie, and he would process my layman's way of speaking and say, oh, I understand what he's saying.
We got very quickly to that agreement that I would do my best in that direction to make it look as much as possible as a period piece in the 90s. We went from there, and he respected a lot my input, and that was pretty big.
Well, let me tell you something. People don't change overnight. You and I are two of a kind. At least I have the guts to admit it.
I'm really proud that the fact that really what I set out to do when I wrote this thing, I had a great relationship with all the people involved, the cast and the crew. We still get along, you know, we still talk, or we want to work again. And it's really about the relationships, and I'm just not a filmmaker. It's like, this is my vision and I have to have it. These people are great at their job, and what I'm most proud of myself is like I'm able to say yes, yes, no, yes, but let them really create.
I'm most proud of our collaboration, I have to say, because I have never worked more closely with a cinematographer, a production designer, or a director where we actually sat down and every day went over things, and that's what I'm most proud of.
I think it's one of my most beautiful stuff that I did in the States. In Europe, I was in fact more or less an expert in period films. When I got here and I did Miracle Mile and Crossing the Land Sea and Wayne's World, and because I want to have a variety, I lost the contact with beautiful films. And I saw immediately in the script, and when Roger agreed to the possibility to make it a beautiful film.
We had a blast.
We had a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
You know, you do enough.
It's fun to work with creative, crazy people, you know. You're supposed to have a good time. What is it we say, that you have to laugh at least 2-3 times a day, or why bother? And we did. We laughed a lot.
I'm glad I had the support of Neil and Heather and Columbia Pictures and Amy Pascal, who let me have free reign pretty much. And when they involved themselves in the process, 90% of the time they were right. And I'm proud of the fact that as a director, I'm able to decipher that. And I'm able to say, I don't say, oh, you're wrong and this is my vision and it's my film. That I'm like, I allow people into the collaborative process. And I'm always saying, that's a better idea than what I had. Great, we'll use it. It's my name on the film.
Next on HBO. Two females are getting ready to be federal agents and stopping by with some bad criminals. Rebecca De Mornay and Mary Gross are the feds. Next on HBO.